This is Triple M Footy's Midweek Rub, exclusively on the Listener app. Joey, Daisy, Damo and Duck. And Damo, we spoke about plenty of footy news, but there's also been plenty of injuries in the competition and some bad ones.
And to teams that can least afford them. GWS being the prime example out of round 3, when 3 key players, still Phil Davis is a key player to that team. He's now out, Duck. It's almost indefinite. It's a calf problem, but there's a tendon issue with it. We've got Canilio out for a minimum of 8 weeks days with an ankle injury and syndesmosis, and also Matty De Boer, who was doing a really good job at that point in time before he pinged a hamstring on Clayton Oliver. So 3 key players. We haven't seen Lockie Whitfield yet with a liver or kidney bruising that he's got. So they're already 0-3, and Duck has just written off St Kilda. Rule, I think you throw GWS into the same.
I would have thought so. They've just got too many injuries, and then you think on obviously who they lost in the off season. I think it's too big a mountain for GWS to climb, unfortunately.
And then you've still got the guys they recruited to help them this year. Jesse Hogan, Braden Pruce can't even get out there, and they like a couple of other role players that aren't playing, Adam Kennedy, etc. Do you think though, Daisy, this actually potentially helps Leon Cameron in regards to his job security, because there will be so many outs with these key players, particularly his leadership group?
Yeah, well, I do, because I think when you talk about coaches under pressure, the question is, well, who's going to take the role and why would you then take that role? I'm not sure GWS are the prospect that they once were. If you're a coach and you're going to come in now, you're going, well, can I do anything different that Leon isn't with the talent that's now at that footy club to change things around? No, you're on a high into nothing. So I think in a weird way, and it's funny how these things work, that when your luck's out, you just keep getting worse and worse luck. And for Leon, well...
And he's had no luck.
He's had no luck
in his coaching career at all.
Yep.
And this club, they're hard to win. You know that. I mean, they really are. And he's had no luck going in. He's got them to prelims. He's got them to a granny. I mean, you talk about... You think you go back to Damien Hardwick, got him to finals, didn't win one, missed the finals. Everyone wanted to get rid of him, and then comes back and he's won 3 flags since. I mean, I think you need to give Leon Cameron a bit of a spell.
I put it to you last week, Duck, that it was the premiership window closed for them for the next 3, 4, 5 years. Are you willing to change your opinion on that?
I said that Little Mouse could still fit through, if you remember.
Yeah.
It was a little mouse.
Do you think? Do you stand by the mouse is going to go through?
It's certainly not going through this year. I mean, they're not playing finals this year, GWS.
Yeah. Gresham's a big loss too for the Saints. He missed the back half of 2020, and it was a key omission for what they ended up doing last year. But now he's out, and Duck's already written him off, as we said a moment ago. So that's more bad news for the Saints.
So you're not prepared to say that you think GWS can still will play finals footy this year?
What I'm keen to see is the leadership that they're going to now have with Toby Green.
You're fitting 14 teams into the 8.
No, I'm also one of the 4, the only person to actually put the Sydney Swans in before the year started. Though.
I know, that's a big one.
That wasn't the question, though. So
no, it wasn't. But I needed to get a bit of credit back.
So can GWS make 8?
I can't see them making 8 either. But what I'm keen to see, Toby Green, now that he's going to be out right there for some weeks in a row now in succession, be captain.
He tried his guts out on the weekend too, though. He's having a red-hot crack.
A little bit of a counterpuncher these days. Someone has an opinion and then you just get into it.
Rope-a-dope.
Damo, the other news to emerge today has been the potential talk of a loan situation or a loan system in the AFL. Obviously, with the Gold Coast Suns now literally having no ruckman to pick from. Damien Hardwick was asked this today, and he said that anything that gives a young player a chance to play the game, I love. What do you think about a potential, some sort of loan system or in-season trading so that clubs that are decimated by injury can bring players in?
I'm all for in-season trading. We don't have it, but I'm all for that possibility. I'd like to see it be introduced. I'm not for the loan system. I don't know how that works because self-interest would kick in at some stage. And again, I'm not fully aware as we speak. I think he's only just said that, hasn't he, Joey? Yeah. So the context around his answer, I mean, he wouldn't be loaning, I wouldn't have thought, Mabi or Child right now, who can't get a look into a very good team to a team that needs a ruckman.
This reminds me of something, boys. Remember when you were in the under-10s, talk about the loan system, and you'd roll up there and you had a lot of numbers on your team. The team rolled up and they only had 15 players, so you had to loan them 3.
Yep.
Well, I certainly never got loaned out.
I never got loaned out.
You two got loaned out. How many times you get loaned out, Dave?
That's why he doesn't like the loan system. He's still filthy.
He's got some bad memories kicking the grass for the other team.
Poor little Damo had his little Saint shorts on and he's played for the Hawks. You know which kid's been loaned. It's as obvious as anything.
What about you, Duck? The loan system we agree is probably not right for AFL. I mean, that applies in the EPL.
I do.
In-season trade?
Yeah, I do agree with Dimmer, and I've said this for a couple of years now because it's been raised now for a few years. To give someone an opportunity. So let's say it is to go to the SANFL or the Waffle or whatever it may be, to go and do something like that and pull someone out of obscurity to give them a shot. I'm all for that.
Right.
But definitely not the Damo loan system.
But what about in-season trading amongst clubs? So let's say Gold Coast need a ruckman. They can offer something to Richmond to get Marbiol Chol or Kelman Jones or someone that's not getting a game. They're going to have to pay overs in the trade. Yeah. They might have to give up a second-round draft pick or something above and beyond, but then they get a ruckman that they're after.
Yeah, well, I think Dimmer's theory was that it was for a few weeks. I don't like that. It should be for the rest of the season as a minimum.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I've got no dramas with that. If you need a ruckman and you're willing to give... If you've got 3 on your list, or then you can conversely try and swap for a midfielder or somewhere where if some club's got, that sort of system.
Take us enormous IP, though, don't you? I mean, if it was someone...
I reckon there's a bit of myth
So
in that.
or you're just not giving anyone away with footy IQ.
Maybe. Well, if it's a ruckman, probably not.
Actually, let's be honest. If they're not getting a game, they probably haven't got a good footy IQ.
Well, that's really right. And Damo, the mid-season draft is back this year. Obviously, it wasn't on last year.
Yeah, I think they can still get access to one player, can't they, if they want. Look, I reckon I'd like more movement. That's not being mercenary about the game. I just think this scenario now with the Suns, it's worrying given that they have not got a person of note to play ruck for the remainder of the year. At the very least, to Duck's point, raid or at least target someone out of the local leagues. I'd like to take it a step further and actually use a draft pick to get someone in.
Well, Brisbane were in the same boat on the weekend.
Yeah.
They got rid of Martin and obviously the big fella was injured, so they had to play a kid.
And according to Nathan Buckley, the ruckman's useless anyway, so...
I've sort of always felt that anyway.
That's right. What did you make of that, about the comments that he made when it was a 63-4 hit-out count?
They won by 4.
Against
they won
the Brisbane
clearances
Lions.
by 4.
But I would argue that that's a coaching problem more than a rucking problem. Now, am I wrong in saying that?
No, I completely agree because I watched the West Coast game against Port Adelaide and the best player on the ground was Nick Naitanui. Yep. Just the service he gave his midfield. The difference is Collingwood hit the ball in close where the opposition can get it. Nick Nat throws it outside the circle, outside the bubble.
Bulldogs a week before was exactly the same.
Yeah, and the mids attack, they run patterns, the West Coast Eagles mids. They come out the front, out the corridor, and where Collingwood stay in a very tight circle.
When you know that your ruckman's going to win it, you've got liberties, you can take them.
You watch them. Watch the two ruckmen, sit down and watch a tape. And I know you two do it religiously, but just watch your tape. And when you watch Big Grundy and the ball drops short and he's got the best body position, you can read him like a Sesame Street book. You know exactly where he's going to drop it.
Down in front of himself.
Straight down in front of himself or he grabs it. Nick Nat in midair can actually change where he's going and whether it be voice or it's worked out before. I don't think it's... I'm sure it's worked out before, but he can actually change while he's in midair and flip it somewhere else.
The centre bounce is where you can have the most dominance because it's 3v3 and there's a lot of space around it. Obviously, you don't have extras off the back, so you can manipulate. You can rip people back as forwards and drag them as back as you want. Belt it out the middle.
Can Brodie Grundy develop that part of his game?
I think he has it. It's just that at the minute they're running stupid patterns which don't allow him to capitalise on the dominance that he has in that game. And when you're getting paid $7 million, you probably don't really want to hear your coach coming out saying your ruckman's not as good as he should be.
By far is the best ruckman, but easily.
Yeah, head and shoulders, Damo, lastly, there was some interesting comments from Chris Scott on Monday night on Footy Classified. I'll just take a listen to the grab and then I want to get your thoughts.
Would you like to see him do it?
No.
No. Why?
I wouldn't. Because it's not a very good job, to be honest.
Why do you say that?
It's a big statement.
Yeah, no, it's just hard work.
What's your concerns most?
No, it's just a stressful existence. And not many coaches coach for 10 years. He coached for 10 years, a couple of prelim finals with that list, I think was a pretty successful outcome. And I think there's a cost to that position. Well, I think a lot of people have talked about it. I mean, Don Pike was 3 games into his assistant coaching career and we're talking about him going back. He spoke really clearly about the pressures of the job when he finished. And I'm not sure that John Longmire spoke of it recently. I'm not sure that they listened to Don as well as they should.
That's from Footy Classified, as you said, Joey. That is a concern for the industry. And I say it's a concern for the industry because this is a man... If you check the record book, the 2021 AFL Year Guide, this is the most successful coach in terms of winning percentage in the history of the game. He bats at 69%, Doug. That's equal with John Coleman, who had 69%. Wow. It's better than Tom Hafey. It's better than Jock McHale, who played in 17 grand finals. It's better than Dick Reynolds. So when he says that, with that backing of his own strike rate, you can only imagine what the lesser light coaches are going through.
And that's also coming from a coach that is, in my view, very laid back in comparison to other coaches. He does have a more relaxed view on things.
He's got a balance on life, I think.
He really
to
does.
A point, yeah.
I find him fascinating. I'm a massive Chris Scott fan. You could listen to him all day.
Yep.
And the fact that he's made those comments, you listen.
But what can you do about it? Because I agree. I mean, I've always sort of joked that to be a senior coach, you've got to be a little bit mad. You like to want to take on that role because not only are you at the footy club, you're all consumed by the football club. You've got this responsibility to not only 45 players but also the staff. You've got the stresses of home life and the media attention you get, and it is all consuming. I've got no doubts it would be a stressful job. The question is, what's the solution?
Well, there's no way you'd want to be a senior coach in my eyes, because if the team goes well, the team gets the credit, the players get the credit. As soon as they start going shit, you're the one who's under the bus. Every single wheel gets you from every. So as a responsibility, I guess, on the media. Is if someone coaches well and does a good thing, we probably should pump them up more, but it's not as sexy as saying Dusty Martin was best on ground.
Actually, just to highlight that point, Daisy, Sydney going well, Don Pike, he's had a massive influence.
Yeah, Paul
He's
Horse,
had a massive influence. Horse is sitting there going,
Same as Choco at
if we
Melbourne.
lost the first three, it'd be horses cooked.
No, Melbourne Footy Club, everyone's going, Choco's had the big influence down there.
Exactly.
Old Goody who's battled away. Get a look in.
This is Triple M Footy's Midweek Rub, exclusively on the Listener app, and it's time for this.
On the Midweek Rub, it's time for Duck Dive.
I'm good from the waist down.
Quick five.
Well done, Ramsey. Very good. I saw you working hard before. Well done. Okay, Duck. Honest answers, and if you have...
He's happy with that line too.
I've got bunged up shoulders.
That's what he meant.
Oh, yeah.
First question. Is Melbourne now the real deal in season 2021?
Not prepared to say that yet. No.
Daisy?
No, I don't believe they are. Until
Not
they prove me
prepared to
wrong,
say
I'm
that
not.
yet.
Yeah.
Okay. I think they are. They're the real
I
deal.
am too.
Yeah.
They've got 6 really good players and they've got some young guns coming through. So I reckon yes.
Yeah, they tick all the boxes for me. Is the big inside midfielder dead? There's been a lot of talk, the way the game's played, that these inside mids are no longer going to be in existence.
There are a lot of dingbats around the first few weeks saying, Paddy Cripps, and then he comes out and plays a blinder. No, they're certainly not.
Right. If you were Brett Ratton, would you make a big statement at selection and potentially drop Brad Hill?
I haven't seen all of the game, but I do understand that he hasn't been at his absolute best. By the way, wasn't at his best last year either. If he feels that way, then you've got to make changes. I mean, their last 2 weeks have been pretty poor, St Kilda. So to make a statement, probably.
You're the Saints man, Joey. Would you?
No, I wouldn't. I don't think Brad Hill necessarily has been one of the worst culprits. I think when they recruited him, he's the icing on the cake. I just had a look at his numbers. He averages less than 4 contested possessions across his career. That's winning less than 4 ground balls in a whole game of footy. He's a handball receiver. He's the outside. He's the polish. Yeah. He was the runner to really help them. So I don't think it's his fault about what's happening. They drafted him because of that part of his game. I think you stick with him. He's your big recruit. There are other players that are not pulling their weight that should be dropped.
Name them, Joey.
A couple of the small forwards, I reckon, they just need to get back to rolling their sleeves up and getting to work.
You're talking about an All-Australian contender from last year?
You build your game. You build your game around your pressure, and you got to start with that and then get forward from there. Duck, are you concerned about Geelong at all?
A little. I don't think they've been anywhere near their best the last couple of weeks. But I will say you win these close ones and they can set you up. And you talk about Chris Scott. This footy club has got a record of winning these close games and then invariably putting themselves in a position to have a crack at premierships. So I am they're not playing their best footy anywhere near it.
They'll be humming towards the end of the year. There's no doubt about that. They've got too many good players there. Higgins obviously missing now with a hammy, but Cameron comes back in. That'll change the whole dynamic of that football club.
In my gut feel, it was a deliberate ploy to have a slow start to the season in regards to building their year. I think they would have looked at the fixture and thought Adelaide round 1, Brisbane at home round 2, the Hawks round 3. Maybe they just thought, we'll ease into it. We'll build our preseason. We need to be peaking at the right time of year with the age profile. They've got away with a couple of wins. They've lost one, but I think they'll be fine.
2 kicks off being zipping 3 too. So
I know.
Come the end of the year, just make a point of that.
Hey, last one, Duck, and really want your thoughts on this. With the way the game is being played at the moment, and with the amount of free kicks that these forwards are getting, little Tiggy Touchwood free kicks, in all honesty, how many goals would you kick? Seriously, imagine these free kicks.
I'll use like Lockett and Dunstall as the examples. They're full forwards. I was a centre half forward, but They
I love this.
what they put up with and what they're getting free kicks for now is just ludicrous. It is. I think it's gone a little bit too far the other way in terms of the soft free kicks. I will say this though, what we are finding out, and we mentioned this last week on the show, is we're finding out that some of the defenders and good defenders over years are having to play one-on-one, and they're getting that little thing called panic set in. And when they have to be body on body, and then that arm goes around. But Joey, there's very, very soft free kicks being paid to the forwards at the moment.
There is. Damo, do you like that, though, from a spectator point of view?
Love it,
If
yeah.
it's 50-50, pay it to the forward.
Any return to what we once had when it came to those one-on-one contests inside and around the area of the goal square, I absolutely love, and I hope they keep getting paid, because ultimately, Duck, as the key defenders did adapt to what was in front of them in recent years with playing a team defence, they will still be the best players eventually when they work out this new system.
No, the problem is it's not the system. Like as I said, there are some defenders that are struggling to now sort of man up more than what they used to. So that element, I know that they'll get over the next few weeks or 6, 7, whatever. But it's just the fact that when they are there, they are so soft. I mean, we're talking about just decisions that we see all over the ground, but for whatever reasons right now, forwards are getting them right in front of goal.
Daisy, just quickly, did you see Harry Mackay being this good? Did you think he could be, and did you think when you're at the Blues he could be an absolute star of the competition, or did you think not quite?
No, in all honesty, I thought he was going to be a serviceable player. He sort of had the symbols a little bit when he first got down there, but to his credit, he spent hours and hours with Josh Fraser, called it the blue mat there, just booting balls into his hands. Charlie Curnow was the one that had all the excitement. Feathers McKay, well, he showed glimpses, but he's starting to put it together at the minute. He went away over the off-season and did a speed program. I stupidly slid into his DMs and said, that'll be good, Harry. You can now run out of position quicker. And he's now making a real fool out of me. So credit where credit's due. 7 goals on the weekend. And he's a focal point. He was good against Darcy Moore as well. Yeah, 7-5.
Yeah.
This has been Triple M Footy's Midweek Rub exclusively on the Listener app. Hope you've enjoyed today's episode. Hey, before we get into the predictions and the tips for this weekend and have a look ahead, we do a certainty tip every week. If you get it wrong, it's a 6-pack that you got to bring at the end of the year. Damo's already got to bring in half a slab. Rabsy, how did we go on the weekend? All right, well, I'll take St Kilda to beat the Bombers. Well, that's my team.
And my team as well. We've gone against our teams.
I'm going the Saints to beat the Bombers. I laughed there because I tried to jump in first and be smart aleck and take the easy one, and it's backfired on me. So I'm up for a 6-pack already, so that's no good.
I had Brisbane, and that was never in doubt.
Duck went out on a limb and took the Bulldogs to beat Kangaroos.
And I think I had the Cats, and that too was never in doubt, despite it getting to within a kick too.
Hey, having a look ahead to these games, Daisy, there are some absolute 50-50 crackers this weekend. I still think even the Swans Bombers will be closer than people think. The Bombers were very, very good. I reckon it got sort of undersold how well they were against the Saints because the Saints are ordinary. Port and the Tigers is a 50-50. The Bulldogs and Lions.
Yeah, that's going to be.
The Suns and the Blues is a big game. The Magpies and Giants, and even the Roos Crows. The Wayne Carey Cup. I'm curious to get your tip in that one. There's some views.
Seeing as though I took the soft option last week, I'm going to take the big one this week. Yeah. Friday night footy. I'm going to go Port to beat Richmond. So that'll be 2 losses in a row. Well, one of these teams is going to lose 2 in a row. I think Port will beat the Tigers.
Did you see some signs with the Tigers that you weren't happy with?
Oh, well, Sydney completely outplayed them, but Port got completely outplayed over there as well. I'm just think that it's in Adelaide, Port. I'll go with them.
Tigers against the Blues weren't great, and then just okay against the Hawks. So they're a little bit, I know they've won a few more, but they're a little bit in the same category as Geelong for mine.
And Vlosten out.
Yeah, he's an important player.
Yeah. I criticised the Richmond medical staff in that first round, saying it was a bit ticky touchwood. So on the record, I'm terribly sorry. You weren't being funny buggers, and I got it wrong.
Dion Prestia as well is out, which he's a big important player for that midfielder. Damo, what's your certainty?
Can I go for the Swans? Given I'm been on their bandwagon,
yeah,
you can take
easy? No, you can take the Swans to beat the Bombers.
To beat the Bombers on Thursday night footy with Buddy back in.
As I said, I think this will be some sort of shootout. Yep. I think Essendon play fast. They both score from the back half. They can leak some goals. I think this will be a beauty tomorrow night. Daisy?
I'm going to... Can I take the Pies? They're the shortest. Or is that too short? No, I'll take Carlton then. I'm going to the game, so I was going to watch Collingwood and cheer for them, but I'll take Carlton to beat the Suns up there.
Confidently? You're confident, Carlton?
No, I'm not at all, but I don't want to take the shortest pick of the round.
Which is a big loss for the Gold Coast Suns. I
Massive
mean,
loss.
they build their game around their clearances and contested ball with Greenwood and Tuke Miller and these players inside Swallow. So without Wits, it's going to make, and no Ruckman, it's
There's
going
not
to
a
make it
ruckman on their
difficult.
list who's fit right now.
No,
And the Blues were really good on the weekend. They played nothing like they did in the first 2 rounds. They were really good. So if they can do that again, I think they will win. So I'm prepared to put 6 frothies on it.
What are you doing, Joey?
I'm going to take the Dockers to bounce back and beat Hawthorn in Perth. Fremantle were very disappointing. They're much better than that. Hopefully Nat Fyfe does play. I'm not sure if we've got an update on
he
that.
will have lasted through the 12-day protocol,
Yeah.
so it's up to him and the club to make that decision. I still wouldn't be surprised if they just erred, given his history with the concussion issue and his public words around it. But again, it's his call.
Yeah, I just think
obviously.
they'll get a response from the way they perform back at home. They should win that. I want to get your thoughts on the D's and the Cats because, as I said, Damo and I are bullish on Melbourne. I think they can certainly beat Geelong this week. They are playing much better football than Geelong. Who do you think will win that one, Duck?
Yeah, well, they've certainly won their 3 games, but I'm going to go the Cats.
Daisy?
I'll go the Cats as well. I don't know what it is about Melbourne, but in my psyche,
still-
until they
that's-
prove me completely wrong, I just had the question mark about them.
I reckon Melbourne's going to keep this roll going for a little bit. I reckon they've got you tell me if they have, Joey. Lever and May, are they the best 1-2 double act when it comes to the key defensive posts? I know there's a couple of good players there when it comes to the West Coast, but are they up there in terms
I think
of
more
at the
roughing?
moment they are. No,
Yeah.
at the moment they are. They've got a defensive system that is better than any other team at the moment.
Yep.
It's basically Steve May is the anchor. He stays the deepest, and on the weekend he found himself on Toby Green, but that's the way they'll play. He's deeper. Lever plays higher. Lever's got permission to go and fly and intercept. Tomlinson locks away
the
the
one.
best. Tomlinson locks away the
Right.
best forward. And between the 3 of them, I think
They
it's a
sort it out.
really good setup.
Tomlinson
they've got.
probably deserves a lot more credit than he's getting in that system. Lever and May are the ones that are spoken about. The work that Tomlinson does, he's the workhorse. He just gets it done, covers off so they can be the extras.
You've
So
convinced me, Melbourne to win.
Yeah, good. And just last one, quickly, Duck. The Roos and the Crows. I'm putting it out there. I've tipped the Kangaroos. I think if they win a game, it'll be this one at Marvel. Bounce back. I don't have to say with confidence, but I think the Kangaroos can win this game.
The thing that concerns me about this game is the Crows finished 18th, Kangaroos 17th last year. So the bottom 2 teams, and if the Crows win this and win this well, that is then I know people are already talking Damo, but not good. I'm going with the Crows.
Damo, you've been on the Roos for a
with
while.
the Crows,
long
yeah.
as it's
But
not a
I'm with you
10-goal.
on the possibilities that could exist if North somehow reverse to something like what they were at some stage of last year.
I gave the Roos a chance when they played the Gold Coast up there after Gold Coast had been to Perth, played in the middle of the earth there. It was 700 degrees. They then went back to the Gold Coast and didn't fire a shot, so you can have them, Joey.
Yeah, very good. Oh, thank you guys. Another great episode of Triple M Footy's Midweek Rub, of course, exclusive on the Listener app. And don't forget, tomorrow you can listen to all the round 4 action, starting with the clash between Sydney and Essendon from the SCG, and plenty more action over the weekend. Thanks for joining us.
The footy